واغتراب فقير في الحياة من الصحاب ومن يأمنك يا دنيا الدواهي تدوسين
I would advise the youth to be humble and polite. Rudeness is not part of Islam. Be very, very respectful to scholars. They're not just anybody. They are the only source through which you're going to get. Otherwise, just go through all the libraries then. Spend the decades that they have spent. This is disrespect to the time that they've spent. And like literally, they've given their lives to. And so instead of getting all that knowledge, they're trying to polish their egos and try and challenge them. Or maybe there is a weakness in some scholar, and they're just trying to pound on that weakness, trying to get their, own pedestal established as, some speaker or whatever. I think Muslims should be very open to taking knowledge from every scholar, like literally. Because scholarship is a very serious matter. And, any kind of theologian for any kind of philosophy actually paves the way of connecting, every, follower of that philosophy with the core. That's his core job. So the more we actually go into scholarship, the more we actually understand different angles of understanding that connection, that bridge. So Muslims should be, especially here in England, they are in the middle of East and West in terms of scholarship. They better be getting, both these funnels very well connected together, and not just get both of them, but analyze the difference and see where the difference is coming from. This is going to, this is not available in let's just say the Arabian scholars are not going to be, students of those Arabian scholars in Arabia, Morocco, or Tunisia. They do not know what's going on in India, Pakistan scholarship. Just like that, people in Pakistan, India, or Arabia do not know what the Western clerics are doing. So in England, you have that opportunity. You not only speak the same language, you can understand both the languages, you can understand where they're coming from, sitting at a neutral point. It's more of a very, good vantage point for a teenager here, where you can, see both and see how situations keep, enticing scholarship to come up with new ways to look at it, the same core. The themes don't change, but the eras of politics and culture are changing so fast. So most of the people will not have that option, but whoever has that option should. I actually believe that people should go and sit with the scholars while they're studying them and understand the whole sphere of where they're coming from. And you're not going to get them from a YouTube video or a book. You're going to have to, if you can, go to Yemen or Medina or Egypt, Cairo, or Sudan, Khartoum. Yeah, well, nothing like it. But most of the people will not have that opportunity. Most of the people will go through books or any kind of, a secondhand knowledge of these very people. And just like that, you cannot just go to America and, study under the American clerics. I'm pretty sure the credibility of Islam is still set by the Eastern scholarship. So even if you have to vet a Western scholar, we need to see credentials from the East backing him up. And that's how the stage is set. But I'm pretty sure in about 20, 50 years from now, this will not be the case, because scholarship is just like that, just like the way we're actually migrating to different places. Knowledge and pedestals are also migrating, and there will be different sides of how to vet certain scholarship based on the Sunnah and the Seerah and the Quran. So there will be schools who are going to be accrediting scholarship in America independently in less than a generation, the way we're going. Something that did not surprise me but shocked me was the fact that we're looking at things with the same lens, which shouldn't happen. English Muslims should be a lot more aware of the global requirements that Islam has on an individual, especially in the kind of opportunities English Muslims have in terms of raising their acumen, their global aperture. And what's shocking is that Muslims in England still enjoying the same Muslim clusters and the same kind of flavor that I can get, that there are lines being drawn around masjids, which does not happen in the Arabian lands. And I've traveled through the Arabian lands. It is a pretty desi flavor that I got for Islam. That's shocking. That should not happen. In Canada, I'll tell you, the Indian Pakistani Muslims, they've been Arabianized, and in England, it's still, and if I'm actually, walking the streets of Islamabad or Lahore. Yeah, no, it's not just the fact that, the culture. I'm talking about the lens through which they look at Islam. That's something which I thought was not going to happen. This is my first time in England, and I've lived in America and I've lived in Canada. They have a global aperture of looking at Islam. there's not going to be any Brelvi or Deobandi or Wahhabi or Ali Hadith or, certain fractions trying to, or competing with each other. But English Muslims have a very clear, what's the word? Trenches.
Yeah.
Trenches, that's the real word. That's what I call the Desistan. We have a lot of Desistan in England. And you know what, quite frankly, I didn't expect as much, because I know it's see, the real math that we all need to do is how much of an Arab, diaspora that we have in England. Because in America, you see, every third Muslim that you're going to find is an Arab, or maybe even second Muslim that you're going to find is an Arab. And I think Muslims in England should let them get a little washed away with the Arabian flavor and get to see at least different versions of, different cultures of Islam from the Islamic countries. We're not doing that. They're pretty away from the, even the Muslim cultures. I do not see any Indonesian, Malaysian. I've not met any here. I do not see any Arabian, powerhouse generating, certain public policy, especially Muslim. They're not calling the shots on these sort of things, which is street Islam. Because, I'll give you an example. If I'm speaking in Toronto, and even if I'm speaking to Pakistanis, I would know that, they're going to come up with a very Arabian question, or they will be very aware of what, North African or, the, Syrian or the Iraqi way of understanding this sort of, or Lebanese, they're pretty aggressive. Even when I went to Australia, like as far as Australia, the first community I could possibly, interface with was the Lebanese. And all the, halal meat and all of those things were, being, all the, the push, was done by the Arabs, which is normal. I was thinking, that's how the Arabs, operate. In Denmark, I lived in Denmark. The Libyans and the, Lebanese, the Syrians, Egyptians, they call the shots on a lot of things. So Pakistanis, feed off of it, which is awesome. Which is awesome. We love each other. The Arabians, love the Pakistanis and Indians. It's the same sort of thing. But in England, I just did not see that. I saw real Pakistan in India. This is not a good thing. I'm telling you, in Toronto or Vancouver, well, mostly Toronto or the eastern side, and America, you cannot be a Pakistani and not be affected by the Arabian version of how to look at Islam and how to, behave. They really rub off on you, and it's just awesome. Awesome. I know how, because I just keep reminiscing from Toronto, and the Egyptians and the Lebanese and the Yemenis, those were the people who I naturally had to hang out with, because not just that they were so many, but the fact that I knew that they would know where to go eat, where to go study, and what kind of excursions I'm going to plan are going to be based on, where these sort of clusters are going to be. Here, when people came into my sessions, I was trying to keep, trying to get an echo of because this is England, this is not Pakistan. But I can't. This is way more Pakistan than Pakistan, by the way. So it's the way we look at certain things in Islam, and I've been raised by the Arabs, so maybe that's why I'm a little too Arabian in that. But overseas, Islam cannot survive, and a lot of people are not going to like me for this. Islam in overseas could not have survived if the Arabian diaspora had not happened, because Pakistanis, they amalgamate a lot of things. And maybe it's our own psychological disposition, but Arabs, they don't. They're pretty Arab, and they take pride in that. I think humility is one of the values of Islam, core values. So I would advise you to be humble in front of people of knowledge. However, having said all of that, I think being assertive is part of being a Muslim, and also being inquisitive and curious is part of being a human being who's going to channel that curiosity into Islam. So if the scholarship is aware that these sort of things are going to naturally happen, because the West is going to, the one gift the West is giving to Muslims, and that's primarily the reason why I'm in England, is to channel and harness that sort of strength that this pedestal has to offer to Muslim youth. That they are going to be curious, they are going to go into different levels of knowledge, they're going to ask questions, they are going to challenge, and they're going to refute. And I think with time, when they're going to grow into some sort of maturity, they'll understand what kind of chaos that they were up to. But I think the scholarship should grow a lot more thicker skin to take this sort of heat from the English or American youth, because that is naturally going to happen. And I don't, sponsor or endorse it, that, you just go hover like bees around scholarship, but you shouldn't just stop it. You can't just, start following people. In Pakistan or India, when you flip it, you'll find out that there is no growth in the intellect of a Muslim, because as soon as they see a scholar, they're not going to challenge him. And one scholar becomes more of a prophet, na'udhu, rather than just a scholar. You can see in Pakistan and India, when I say this is something which Hanifa has said, that's it, job done, argument closed. Abu Hanifa was not a prophet. We have to still see what was going on and how did Abu Hanifa reach that conclusion. That brings the power and essence of Abu Hanifa, rather than just not even think about this. So we have to balance all of this. I would advise the youth to be humble and polite. Rudeness is not part of Islam. Be very, very respectful to scholars. They're not just anybody. They are the only source through which you're going to get. Otherwise, just go through all the libraries then. Spend the decades that they have spent. This is disrespect to the time that they've spent. And actually, literally, they've given their lives to. And so instead of getting all that knowledge, they're trying to polish their egos and trying to challenge them. Or maybe there is a weakness in some scholar, and they're just trying to pound on that weakness to try to get their, own pedestal established as, some speaker or whatever. So the respect, if you cannot respect a scholar, then you might as well just choose another path or career. Islam is not going to endorse you. See, my stencil is the Sahabas. So I'll tell you a hadith, it's a very famous hadith, when Prophet once asked the Sahabas about he was given an analogy, and he asked, which tree do you think represents the man and the life cycle of the man? And nobody could answer. And Abdullah bin Umar and Umar Khattab, both the father and son, were there. And Umar Khattab did not know the answer. And Prophet said the palm tree. So, and then he explained. And on the way back home, Abdullah bin Umar said that, oh, father, I knew it was the palm tree. And Umar Khattab, you know what he said to his son in his late teens or maybe mid-teens? He said, why were you shy? Why did you not talk about this and tell the Prophet ﷺ that you knew? And he said, because I was so shy. And Umar Khattab said, don't ever be shy like this in Islam. Okay. Now that's the advice I'm going to give to you, that, you want to speak to the scholarship. That's an amazing honor that you get. But curious, an honor once you are in the sphere of respect. You want to challenge, you challenge. Of course you challenge. But you better have the same kind of homework that the scholarship has. If you have that, even if you're under a certain category, of course you're not going to have all the categories, otherwise you would be the scholar. But even if you have that category of, let's just say you have a grip on some sort of a logic about that argument that you're trying to place, then you better present that homework. Be respectful. Keep the challenge going. Don't stop the challenge. Actually, that is the downfall of the Muslims in the East, because they've stopped questioning their people. And Prophet ﷺ, when he went to Medina, another way to validate all of this is through the stencil of the seerah, is that when he went to Medina, women just, jumped at him that we have so many questions, and they just start, asking so many questions. Prophet ﷺ started smiling, and he said, he praised those women. He said, I like the women of Ansar because they ask so many questions. So this is, and I'm talking about women here. In the East, women can't even, open their mouth, let alone ask a question in front of a scholar. So Islam actually invites this sort of debate between youth and the elderly, and the elders, Islam actually brings the youth into that realm of, understanding, rebutting, not just for the sake of, winning an argument, but to understand. And that's where humility comes in. Because if you're trying to prove that you're a big scholar, or a better person, or a more eloquent or more articulate person, then what does that got to do with Islam? Yeah. Islam is all about making the other people learn. And even if you have spotted a flaw in some sort of an argument from a scholar, you should go to him in private rather than just make a mockery of this person or the whole being that you're representing, and making a fool out of him in public, and releasing videos about hey, I picked out this, and atheists don't even do that. An ounce of humility. So Islam is a religion of grace. You cannot let go of grace. And the more graceful, any of you want followership, if they're going to follow your grace, they're not going to remember your argument more than 30 minutes after your video. So Muslim man or woman should be very graceful, especially in terms of how to interact with people, let alone interact with elders and scholars.